Hey everybody, Maxtasy here. Today with another new game, or not new, but new for me because it's laying in my inventory for a very long time. It's called Dear Esther, and I guess I will just read the description. A deserted island, a lost man, memories of a fatal crash, a book written by a dying explorer. 2 years in the making, the highly anticipated indie remake of the cult mod Dear Esther arrives on PC. Dear Esther immerses you in a stunningly realized world, a remote and desolate island somewhere in the outer Hebrides. Okay? The game got released on Steam in February 2012 and is in my library since this very moment. And now hopefully we will play this game, and I hope it's nice and I hope you enjoy. So let's jump right into it. Alright, here we go. With a very sad music and some cliffs with water on the menu. I already set the closed captions on, and I also turned down the volume a little bit so it's easier to understand me. And we will start with the chapter The Lighthouse.
Dear Esther, the gulls do not land here anymore. I've noticed that this year they seem to shun the place. Maybe it's the depletion of the fishing stock driving them away. Perhaps it's me. When he first landed here, Donnelly wrote that the herds were sickly and their shepherds the lowest of the miserable classes that populate these Hebridean islands. 300 years later, even they have departed.
Alright, so looks like we stranded here with a boat on this island, this mysterious island with a lighthouse in the far back. Also here's a lighthouse. And I don't know if you could hear this, but there were some sounds of glass shattering inside this house. Something with history? Hebridean history. The walk speed is very slow, and also this zoom is a little bit slow. And the flashlight is going on automatically when I go in a dark room. There's actually two roads. One is going down to the beach and one is going up here. I'm taking the high road.
Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointed he must have been with their chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later. The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude.
It looks like we will go down eventually. The other way was blocked in this cave. I really like the skybox. Looks very realistic. Looks like some leftovers from crab fishers.
At night, you can see the lights sometimes from a passing tanker or trawler. From up on the cliffs, they are mundane. But down here, they fugue into ambiguity. For instance, I cannot readily tell if they belong above or below the waves. The distinction now seems banal. Why not everything and all at once? There's nothing better to do here than indulge in contradictions whilst waiting for the fabric of life to unravel.
This music fits very well to the scenery. So sad, so trist.
A wonderful sight. The moon cresting the junction between the cliff path and the stone circle. It cast a shadow of the ridge across the beach, all the world as if you had signed your name in untidy handwriting.
I'm not sure if the game is different if you take another way. For example, down there was another way along the beach, and I decided to go up instead.
When someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boat, and notice and aid, or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this, to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh.
Those moving bushes. Really nice touch with all the windy weather.
They were God-fearing people, those shepherds. There was no love in the relationship. Donnelly tells me that they had one Bible that was passed around in strict rotation. It was stolen by a visiting monk in 1776, 2 years before the island was abandoned altogether. In the interim, I wonder, did they assign chapter and verse to the stones and grasses, marking the geography with a superimposed significance, that they could actually walk the Bible and inhabit its contradiction?
As you can see, this game is not filled with a lot of action, at least until now. I hope you can hear the narrator and what he's saying.
Dear Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life.
I hear a radio.
This seer, this distant historian of bones and old bread, where did he vanish to? Why, asked the farmers. Why, asked Jacobson. Why bother with your visions at all, if you're just to throw your arms up at the cliff and let it close in behind you and seal you into the belly of the island, a museum shut to all but the most devoted?
There are some signs in the walls. Mysterious stuff. Looks like some chemistry formulas. Interesting. Oh, we're going back. I hope we are supposed to go back here. Yeah, I think we are on the right route. A single seagull. Oh, that refreshing water feels so good.
The vegetation here has fossilized from the roots up. To think they once grazed animals here, the remnants of occupation being evidence to that. It is all sick to death. The water is too polluted for the fish, the sky is too thin for the birds, and the soil is cut with the bones of hermits and shepherds. I've heard it said that human ashes make great fertilizer, that we could sow a forest from all that is left of your hips and ribcage, with enough left over to thicken the air and repopulate the bay.
Again, some chemistry formulas here on this stone, in this stone circle. Looks a little bit like Stonehenge. And again, I'm given the choice to go either down here, but it looks blocked, so I will take the other route. Because we are walking so slowly, I don't want to go to an to a blocked way. Also, we want to see what's in the lighthouse in the far back, so I guess going this direction is nice. And a drop. That means we go in the second chapter.